Bengals and you say they're a much better team than the one that was the laughingstock of the NFL for a decade, but a loss Sunday would actually set them back record-wise to that type of team. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz and NFL.com's Pat Kirwan with you, breaking down 1-3 Cincy and 2-3 Kansas City. And Pat, the Bengals trying to avoid their fourth straight loss. It will be the first time in 5 years that has happened to this franchise. It's tough to do that, though, when you're playing with the worst defense in the NFL, and now you're without suspended cornerback Jonathan Joseph.
Yeah, they're not very good on defense. They're the worst team against the run in the NFL. I know the Kansas City Chiefs had the worst running day in their lives last year and second worst in franchise history with just 10 yards rushing. But I think they get well in this game, and they get that running game going again against the Cincinnati defense that has struggled. Now, I will remind everybody, Cincinnati's coming off a bye. Last week, we saw the first week of games when 4 teams came off a bye. 3 of them won, and all 4 of them played significantly better than he did before the bye.
The one team that lost was New Orleans, and they lost on that game-winning field goal by John Casey for Carolina. Let's get into Larry Johnson, because at first it was the carries. He didn't get enough touches. Then it's the fact that they can't block for him. They still can't block for him, but this is a game where you're taking on a team that is just depleted by injuries. Does he have a breakout day?
Well, he better have a breakout day. It's time for over 100 yards rushing, and if you're not, I'm going to call Priest Holmes and see if you want to come off the PUP list, because this is really no excuse now. You've been paid a lot of money. You got what you wanted. The team's in front of you. You got an offensive line. You got a head coach committed to the run, and a weak opponent is on your home field. 100 yards. Or we're going to have to take a close look at you, Larry.
And a home field that's always very tough to win on the road, speaking of Arrowhead Stadium. On the other side, though, normally you always talk about the Bengals with an offense that's explosive. You've got Chad Johnson. You've got T.J. Hushmanzada. But Johnson is coming off an injury. He's practiced fully this week after having a boot on his ankle last week. But you're going up against the Kansas City defense that has stopped people this year. Is it it's a very tough matchup for Cincinnati.
It is a tough matchup, and Kansas City's got the 5th-ranked defense against the pass, and that's the only thing the Bengals can do very well. But when you really break it down, Cincinnati's going to get their points, and they're going to get chunks of big yardage against this team. 2 old corners in Kansas City. They like to play soft and off, and they will do that against T.J. Hushmanzada and Chad. And I think Carson will be, because Carson's got other problems without Willie Anderson going to play a tackle this week. It's going to be the 3-step drop or the shotgun fast pass, get it out of his hands, and expect those Chiefs to make plays. I see the Bengals moving that football up and down the field, and they're terrific in the red zone. They've been in 10 times. They've scored 10 times. There'll be a lot of points in this game.
And they're coming off a bye in which Marvin Lewis had the team actually practice in that first part of the bye, which is very important. Let's throw all those numbers that Pat just mentioned into the computer, get the AccuScore prediction, 10,000 tests, 10,000 results, and here's what it came up with in this game. One of the closest games of Week 6. Basically a toss-up. Pat, who do you like?
It was hard for me to pick. We've talked about this before we started the show. I went back and forth. But I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm going to go with them because of Herm Edwards. Herm Edwards has had his team at the Jets and in Kansas City in this predicament before. Looked like they didn't belong in the National Football League, and the next week they bounce right back and win a game. I think Kansas City comes out for the home crowd and gets a win.
To speak to that point, for the second straight year, the Chiefs have come back from an 0-2 start to get to 2-3. Worked out pretty well last year. They made the postseason. They're trying to take another step towards that Sunday and get to 500 by beating Cincinnati, and it begins at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. For more on this game or any other in Week 6, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com and watch everything all over the CBS Audience Network. For Pat Kirwan, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care.